I have it. The Dream Stone. Oh, and now, to make my wish, I wish that the Wonder Woman 1984 movie was better. Ha 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 ha! Too bad that'll never happen. What's up, everybody, and welcome to One Man's Opinion. And today we're talking about Wonder Woman 1984. Now, a couple of things very, very quickly, because this one might get a little lengthy. Number one, got the headset back on. Oh, wrong side. There we go. Got the headset back on because something is messing up with my new mic. So some of the sound quality, it's going to be back to, fuzzy at times. Doing the best I can. We're workshopping it. Going to have it fixed before long. Thank you for your patience. Number two, in case you didn't notice from the opener, not a big fan of Wonder Woman 1984, and it sucks because I really wanted to like this movie. And then it started, and the movie's just not very good. I typically do a thing where I kind of take notes as the movie goes, especially if it's one that I know I'm going to be doing a review on. Typically, I would say take a few notes as the movie goes, and, come up with some sort of a script or at least an order of operations to go through and give you the review. That would be great. But honestly, I took a lot of notes on this movie, and the overall review of this movie is not a positive one. I don't feel like I can accurately explain why this movie's so bad unless I go through some of these notes. So instead of doing my typical review where I start with the negatives and then move to the positives, there were so few positives, I thought I would just read my notes as the movie went on, and you can see my descent into madness as it went. Buckle in, because this movie is bad. Okay, coming up, number one. The first thing I wrote is that this movie has a Disney feel. The opener, you get a lot of sweeping shots of beautiful landscape, and there's a voiceover, and there's just this Disney princess feel to it. That's not a bad thing necessarily. It's actually a little nostalgic. It just kind of gave me this old school animated Disney movie film, and that could be a good thing. That's not really a positive or a negative, just a note that I took. The next note was that it was beautiful. A lot of the shots early in this film of Themyscira were striking. A lot of color in this movie, a lot of vibrancy. And then we go through this opener and we move on, and Wonder Woman saves some people, but something strange happens right at the beginning of this movie. There's these four guys robbing this place, and Wonder Woman goes in, she does her thing, she's blocking bullets, she beats them up, pop, 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 and then she throws them off the building through a car. She murdered these guys. Like, it shows them after, and they're like groaning, like, no, I'm sorry. Those are regular people. They are dead, at least 2 stories up. They're out of frame when they fall down. You don't know how high they were when Wonder Woman tied them all 4 together and threw them off the building. At the very least, the guy on the bottom of that pile of 4 human bodies, easily he's got 500 pounds probably on top of him, and then lands on top of a car from at least 2 stories up through the car. They are dead. And Wonder Woman's carelessness for people in this movie, she never kills anyone. But the things she does sometimes are like, no, in real life, she just murdered those people. They're criminals. That's not justice. And it just struck me as odd that she just threw, I should say, these weren't super villains. They weren't super powered. She threw regular people through a car. It was just weird, okay? But still, opening up the movie, nothing too bad so far. The next note, why not just walk in and grab it? The bad guy, Max, he sees the wish stone on the desk, and Kristen Wiig, the blonde nerd character, she's just like, oh, my office is a mess, and like closes the door. Why not just walk in and grab it? It's a stone that grants any wish, even if it only grants one, which later in the movie it grants more than that, and make your wish right there, especially knowing what this guy's wish is. What could she have done? At the very least, You just explain yourself and you're just like, oh my gosh, I saw this stone. It was so beautiful. I wanted to see it. I didn't mean to be so rude. At the very worst, you've pissed her off, but you don't need her now anyway. You've already got your hands on the stone. Like, it just didn't make any sense. He sees the stone. That's what he's after. He's 10 feet from it, and he lets somebody just gingerly shut a door between him and the stone. That makes no sense. Let me be 10 feet from a wish stone and watch me walk into somebody's office and grab it. But, sir, we're going to have to ask you to leave. Okay, whatever. I just made the wish, so I don't care. There's nothing you can do at that point. He has the wish stone. So that didn't make any sense to me. My next note was classic, glasses off, tight dress. Kristen Wiig makes her wish in this movie, and she wishes to be beautiful and powerful like Diana, like Wonder Woman. The first thing that happens to her is that she gets more beautiful, and literally it's just a cliche from every other movie you've ever seen. The only thing that she changes at all, glasses off, and she puts on a tight dress, and everybody's like, oh, you're beautiful. Oh, and I get that there's like the magical influence of it or whatever. I don't care. Perceptive from the audience's point of view, literally all that changed, glasses off, tight dress. You're beautiful now. I don't know. Just a cliche. Still nothing super offensive in this movie so far. Nothing to just say this is one of the worst movies ever. Don't worry, we're getting there. Kristen Wiig, speaking of which, her performance the first half of this movie is literally just a sadder version of all of her SNL characters. She is just an SNL character, and it bothers me because Kristen Wiig could probably actually act if they gave her a direction other than, hey, just play one of your awkward SNL characters because you're a nerd in this movie, so be nerdy and clumsy. And it's terrible, and I hate watching it. It makes me physically angry just to see Kristen Wiig act that way. And I know she can do more because she does more in the second half of the film. And that was more about the direction that she was given. I believe Kristen Wiig has more versatility. Please give her something else to do. Up next, who is this guy? Wonder Woman wishes her boyfriend back. And it makes no sense. Why did they make this decision when they were writing the script to this movie? Her boyfriend comes back, but as another guy. His consciousness enters the body of an actual living person. And yeah, Wonder Woman's like, I see you for who you are or whatever. But no, he's literally looks totally different. Why not just bring him back from the dead? The stone literally creates nukes out of thin air later. You can't tell me it can't resurrect a dead guy. It literally materializes things. It grants any wish. Why would it take the consciousness of a dead man and put it into an already living man? That just raises so many questions. What happened to him? Is he just asleep while somebody else is controlling his body? And then that leads me to my next note, which is Wonder Woman buys this immediately. A woman who deals in the supernatural constantly, she fights gods of trickery, gods of deceit, gods of war. She knows what all is out there in the DC universe. And because some guy who looks nothing like Chris Pine walks up and is like, hey, remember that thing your boyfriend said right before he died? Well, I'm saying it now. She's like, my God, how could you know that? You must be actually my boyfriend. Why would Wonder Woman buy that, considering all the things, all the people that would want to kill her, all the enemies that she made, it would be so, like, that's how easy it is to trick Wonder Woman. Just be like, somehow all you need to do is know what her boyfriend said to her before he died. She'll believe anybody is that guy. You don't even have to look like him. You don't even have to wear disguise or makeup or nothing. Just walk up and say the words, hand her a watch. There you go. Wonder Woman, tricked. You've got her out where you want her. It's ridiculous to me that someone as intelligent and as experienced and as battle-hardened as Wonder Woman is. And that's the thing. I love this character. I really do. And that's why this movie is such a disservice to her. But she just buys this hook, line, sinker. So much so that she goes home and sleeps with him. That night, she goes home and sleeps with him. A man who looks nothing like the man you loved so much walks up and says one thing to you and you buy it hook, line, sinker so much, you go home and you sleep with him? And not to mention the other questions that forces you to ask. Like, this is a real person who's not in control of their own body, and you're going to sleep with that body? No one sees a problem? There's an issue there. You're sleeping with a man's body who is not conscious. to what his body is doing. It's crazy. It's crazy that that's in a movie. And all this could have been avoided if they just resurrected Chris Pine. And it's not like Chris Pine couldn't be in the movie because he's in the entire movie. The whole movie, you see him from her perspective, and he looks like Chris Pine, even though actually he's walking around looking totally different. It's a Pandora's box of impossibility and inexplicable. There's no answers to so many questions that it raises. It's just a weird, wild decision, and it was really stupid. Moving on. Why wouldn't it just turn him into a rock? So Pedro Pascal gets the wish stone, and he says specifically, again, why would you write it this way? Why would you write it to where Pedro Pascal literally wishes that he was the wish stone? He wishes he was the dream stone. He doesn't say, I wish I had your powers. He says, I wish I was the dream stone. So why didn't it just turn him into the stone? He should have just turned into the rock. He should have just been a rock sitting on his desk then for someone else to find. What a stupid way to word that wish. It just irritated me. The next note is, why is she just now strong? Kristen Wiig wishes that she was just like Diana. Strength, beauty, all that good stuff. Every wish that is made in this movie happens immediately. Immediately, Pedro Pascal gets the powers. Immediately, there are nukes all over the planet. Every wish that is made throughout the whole movie happens immediately. But for whatever reason, Kristen Wiig takes her glasses off and puts on a tight dress, and she's got the beauty. And then like a day or two goes by, and she rips the handle or rips her refrigerator door off. Like, she should have recognized the super strength way before that. Why is that happening in phases for her? And this continues. Her personality slowly goes away. And like later she shows up in black eyeliner so that you know she's the bad guy now. And it's just so stupid. Like, she should have gotten the power, the strength, the speed, the beauty, whatever it is she wished for. She should have gotten it all immediately and noticed a drastic change immediately. The next time she got into her car, she should have ripped the door off if that was the way it was going to be. The next time she bumped into somebody on the street, they should have fallen into another building if that's the way it was going to be. It just doesn't make any sense how it has this slow progression just so you can see the decline of her character. It doesn't work that way. The only thing I want is for this movie to stick to its own rules, and it never does, and it's so frustrating. And that's just the tip of the iceberg for the things that are wrong with this film, and we're going to keep going. The next note I made was the trash can joke was good. Wonder Woman takes him to an art exhibit. She shows him like this lavish, big, weird piece of art, and she's like, it's art. That's what this is. And then he sees like a funky plastic trash can container, and he's like looking at it, and she's like, that's just a trash can. And he's like, oh, yeah, just a trash can. It was a pretty good joke. It was a good bit. See, there's some good notes too. I tried to find things I appreciated about this movie. I really did. The next note, now her voice is now changing. This is back to Kristen Wiig's character. Now she's not even talking the same. Why didn't that happen immediately? Why is that gradually changing now? Why is her voice changing? The way she talks, she's not as clumsy. Why do these things keep gradually happening to her when every other wish is immediate? Play by your own rules, movie. Please, I'm begging you. Gal Gadot, her acting in this movie is in and out. There are scenes, and I do have notes, where I thought she nailed it. There are other scenes where she just doesn't have it. I like Gal Gadot. I really do. And I don't know, I think it's Gal, but it may be Gal. Either way. I think they should have gotten someone with a little bit better acting chops to play Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is a huge role. Gal Gadot is a model. She's not the worst actor I've ever seen, but she's not a great actor. And in moments of tension, she doesn't always nail the part. It looks like she's just trying too hard. She's trying to look too concerned, or just whatever it is. Just it's noticeable, and it shouldn't be noticeable. Not to just an average guy like me. It shouldn't be noticeable. Gal Gadot, not great. Steve's fanny pack is great though. I don't know why. Love Steve's fanny pack. Made that note. Really enjoyed the little fanny pack. The invisible jet, I appreciate the effort. I appreciate the callback. I'm glad that they wanted to put it in the movie. How they put it in was totally clunky and made no sense. Wonder Woman's just like, I can turn things invisible now, because I saw my dad do it once with a coffee mug that I lost. Okay, that's a fine joke. That's fine. I'm good with the joke. Practically, it opens up a huge issue if Wonder Woman can just turn things invisible from now on. And maybe they put it in there that her dad did it once, so she can only do it once. it's just clunky. It's out of nowhere. She's just like, I have this ability. And now the jet's invisible. It was clunky. And aside from that, it made no sense. Steve he literally says, go watch it. He said, I'll lose them. Don't worry. I'm a great pilot. They'll never see us. And Wonder Woman literally says, it doesn't matter if they can see you or not. They have radar. I'll explain it later, but they can find us. It doesn't matter if they can see us or not. And then she turns the plane invisible and they get away. Because it doesn't matter if they can see us or not, but an invisible plane won't show up on radar. The next note is America, because, hey, the 4th of July, and there were fireworks, and I just thought, you know what? Good on you. But also, never knew when or where we were in this movie. People would just pop up place to place. You would be in a different country, and then you'd be back in Washington, and then you'd be somewhere else. And I never knew when it was. And then Steve was right there with me in the movie because Wonder Woman's like, yeah, it's the 4th. Of course there are fireworks. And Steve's like, of July? And I thought the same thing. I was like, this is the first I'm hearing of it. I had no idea when this movie took place. Thank goodness I know now. And then the where was always a question too, because people are just in and out from one scene to another. They'd just be in another country with very little explanation of how anybody got anywhere at any time or where they were. The next note is literally every guy except for Steve sucks. So every guy in this movie is constantly like catcalling women. Every guy in this movie is like being very handsy with women. Every guy in this movie, if the woman isn't attractive, just ignores the woman. Even if she needs help, guys will just be like, just kind of like brush her off and be like, I'm not helping her. She's got glasses on. You're like, it's really stupid. There are bad guys out there. There are bad guys out there that are terrible to women. But portraying every single guy in this movie, except for Steve, because that's Wonder Woman's boyfriend, as just this terrible person is so heavy-handed and so annoying and so untrue. If I watched this movie as a female and I thought, for whatever reason, that this movie was an accurate portrayal of how men are, I don't know how you would live that way. What an awful world this would be if you legitimately felt that way. And if you do legitimately feel that way, I feel sorry for you. And I'm sorry for whatever horrible interaction you've had with a man that makes you feel that way, because that's ridiculous. And then the next note I made was, oh yeah, the homeless guy. He's a nice guy. So Steve and the homeless guy are the two nice guys in this movie. Literally every other guy is just awful. Steve's dead, by the way. The next note is Steve's dead because when Wonder Woman and Steve are in that car chase trying to get Max, there's a gun that is pointed right at the little sedan he's driving and just fills that sucker with holes all through the hood. Should have hit the windshield. Steve's driving. They're no more than like 10 feet from each other. Steve is dead. And even if he's not dead, those bullets that hit the hood are going to come through and tear his legs to shreds. He's crippled. And oh yeah, keep in mind, this isn't his body. So the guy whose body he is controlling is at least crippled, just so you know. Horrible. How bad the henchmen are in this movie is ridiculous. And I know you've got to suspend your disbelief a little bit. You do it with Batman. You do it with a lot of people. But they, like, shoot the scenes better. Make it look like they don't have much of a chance to get a shot off. When I'm 10 foot from a guy who's right there and I've got a gun pointed at him, and he's driving like he's not even cutting the wheel. He's not even swerving. Literally, they're just like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Bullet holes all through the car. No one got hit. It's just try. Watch John Wick. He's just a regular guy. He gets shot a few times. It looks at least mostly realistic. They try to make it feel real. Please. I know it's a superhero movie, but please just try. It happens so much in this movie. There's another time where Wonder Woman's in the Oval Office and a Secret Service guy puts a gun like right to her head, like just a few feet away. They're shooting at her. She's not bulletproof. She takes like 3 shots to the shoulders in this movie. No bullet ever hits anywhere else in this movie, just shoulder shots. It's ridiculous. She's not wearing a helmet. She's barely covered except for like her chest and mid area, and then she's got those bracers. Stop it. At least try a little. I'm begging you, movies. Steve's dead, by the way, and he's dead again because he rams one of those up-armored vehicles with his car, with his little sedan that he's driving. He just rams it right into one of these up-armored vehicles. That car's an accordion after that. You ever seen a cartoon where like somebody gets smashed and they just turn into an accordion? That's Steve. So Steve's a cripple and he's an accordion by the end of this movie. Easy. We can suspend our disbelief with superhero movies a little bit, but please treat regular people who don't have superpowers like regular people. Make them semi-capable if they're bodyguards. Make them semi-capable, please. And if they're on the good guys team and they don't have superpowers, don't put them in a situation where it's impossible for them to walk away from it and not kill them. Pedro Pascal's kid in this movie looks uncomfortable the whole time. The little kid that they've got playing his son, he looks so uncomfortable. I don't know. They just like pick this kid up. He's never acted a day in his life, it looks like, because he just has the same face the entire movie. And his face, the facial expression that he has looks uncomfortable. I don't know. I don't know where they got this kid. Why not get some other kid that can do a little acting? It's horrible. And it's worse because Pedro Pascal can act, and he does act good in this movie. And having him next to this kid, it's just like, it's heartbreaking to watch because he's pouring his heart and soul into this role. And this kid's just like, the whole time, like mouth agape. It's horrible. I don't know how Pedro Pascal got to the president. He just shows up there. Max Lord. It shows him ask a guy to wish for it. The guy can't make the wish because he's already wished for a Ferrari. And then it shows him get in the car and you think, okay, he's going to ask the driver to wish for it. And the driver just wishes for good traffic. And then they're in the president's office. And it never shows, like, why go through the trouble of show him asking for people to wish that, show no one wishing it, and then show him in the office? Why not at least show a scene of where someone actually made the wish? It's so confusing. The choices that were made in this movie are mind-boggling. Why show that? Just put him in the Oval Office. You've been doing it all movie anyway. People just show up in random countries. We have no idea how they got there, but people just show up anywhere throughout this entire movie. Why not just put him there? And we'll assume someone wishes it. Or why not show someone actually wish it? Why show 2 people not wish for it and then put him there? And then the next note, there's no way. That's literally what I wrote. I wrote there's no way because Pedro Pascal is a guy that the president doesn't know why he's meeting. He just is there. The president doesn't even know how he got there. He's just there. So somebody wished for it. President just shows up. He's there, and he's in a meeting with this guy he's never met. This guy he's never met is clearly flustered. He's like bleeding out of his eyes and nose, and he's grabbing the president by the collar and shaking him and demanding he makes a wish. Secret Service are standing right behind him, and one of them like puts a hand on a gun, and he's like, I'll allow this. You know what? I'll allow this. This guy, he has a meeting with the president. We don't know how or why. Oh, did he just grab the president? He's bleeding? Fine. There's no way. Can we please, just a little realism, just a little, just try. That's the biggest offense of this movie is it doesn't even try. It said, you know what, we've got Wonder Woman. People are going to come watch this movie. Screw you for thinking that. It's terrible. It's an awful film, and there's no effort, and that's egregious. That's the worst thing. You know what, a movie that's bad but tries hard is bad. This is egregious because there was no effort. There was no effort made. They said, hey, we know some cool characters. Put them in a situation. Oh, what, we need to do this? Go do this. We have a shell of a story? Good enough. We'll figure out the details as we go. Oh, the details don't make sense? Whatever. Comic book fans. I have no idea when Wonder Woman changes outfits. She'll be in like a pantsuit, and then she'll be in her armor. And it just happens, just from scene to scene. No idea how that happens. She's dead again because Wonder Woman should have been shot again here. Multiple times. Could have easily been shot. She doesn't get shot somehow. They use like a tray to block bullets. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get through this. I don't have just a whole lot more. Why doesn't she always do the whip thing? So like she's losing her powers. She can't block bullets anymore. She pulls out her whip. She spins it really fast and it just blocks bullets. Why doesn't she just do that all the time? That's a lot. I could do this. This is a lot easier than like trying to track bullets and block them with your wrists. I don't know. It's just, why doesn't she always do the whip thing? I don't know. Cheetah sucks. Cheetah shows up while they're here at the White House, and she just like, she's wearing studded jackets now and has like really dark eyeliner. Now you know she's evil. You know she's a bad guy now because of that eyeliner. This movie is offensive because it thinks it's brilliant, and it's so dumb. I put neat scene. There is a neat scene that I enjoyed where Cheetah and Wonder Woman like are kind of like looking at each other, and they're like kind of talking a little bit, and then Secret Service is like, freeze. And then they both kind of bolt in different directions, and they're trying to disarm the Secret Service, but Cheetah's like trying to murder them, and Wonder Woman is like actively saving them from Cheetah. And so like Cheetah will like try to bang one's head against a pillar, and Wonder Woman like puts her hand in between. It's just like, it's kind of subtle. And then she'll like throw a chair across the room to catch some other guy that Cheetah has thrown across the room, and the chair like catches him as he goes. It's pretty subtle things that didn't just like beat you over the head like, this is awesome, love it, love it, love it. Like the subtle things. It was a really good scene in an unforgivable film, but a really good scene. Chris Pine is great. I don't know if I've said that yet, but he does some things in this in these scenes, and just watching him in this movie, he's fantastic. He does really good. My next note was, this sucks, because Wonder Woman and Cheetah fighting was awful. When they actually like just them two one-on-one, it was terrible. Every time that they fought, it looked terrible. There's one point where Wonder Woman has her up against a wall, and then like they flip, and like Wonder Woman's the one up against the wall, and Cheetah's got her, and like they're having this conversation that's so, this isn't you, and this is literally what's happening. They're like just shaking, like there's a struggle happening during this conversation, but you can tell both actresses are just like rocking, and she's like, this isn't you. You're better than this. You don't have to do this. And Cheetah's like, you don't understand who I am. You don't know anything about me. You don't know what it's like. Nah. And it's just this so typical scene that you see in every movie ever. And they're literally just like rocking. And you have to watch this nonsense for at least 45 seconds. That feels like an eternity. There's more stuff where like Cheetah, Chris Pine and Pedro Pascal are handcuffed together, and Cheetah grabs them and throws them in opposite directions, and it breaks the chain. Somebody's arm's out of socket. Like, can we at least pretend like somebody's injured? These two are just guys. Pedro Pascal doesn't have any superpowers beyond granting wishes at this point. He's not super strong or anything like that. Somebody's got a dislocated arm. Can we at least act like that hurt somebody? They're connected by a chain. The chain's going to snap, but so is somebody's arm, okay? Please, just a little realism. Why didn't she just break it? See, that's what I'm talking about. The writing in this movie, you don't have to have these problems. Why didn't she just walk up and snap it and then push Chris Pine? Easy. But instead, she throws them in opposite directions. Their arms yank. Somebody's arm is ruined. That's all I'm saying. Just make it simpler on yourself. Just have her break the chain. Push Chris Pine. Then, okay, no questions asked. She's got him. Go. That's it. She does sadness well. I thought Gal Gadot, during the scene where she's realizing that she's going to have to renounce her wish, she's very sad. I thought she did that scene emotionally. It looked very good. It looked really good. She did sadness well. See, not all bad things. Gal Gadot did well in that scene where her and Chris Pine were having to separate. But also, you don't need the stone to renounce your wish. Boy, that is a plot convenient device right there, isn't it? You have to be touching the stone to make the wish, or at least you did have up until this point in the story. You have to be touching the stone to make the wish, but you can renounce it from anywhere on the planet. You can just be like, I renounce my wish, and everything ends. Nothing goes back to the way it was, though, which is also a huge plot hole in this movie. It doesn't go back. Like, you don't go back in time to how things were before. Like, everything's exactly where it was when you renounce the wish. It's just the wish no longer continues to be a thing. It's very weird, a very weird choice. The movie looks horrendous, okay? Yes, I know at the beginning I said it was beautiful. There are a lot of beautiful landscape shots. But anytime like there's action, especially when Wonder Woman is like running at super speed, it looks like they just put Gal Gadot's head in front of a green screen and made things like pass by her quick. And then like when she's trying to like fly and stuff, it looks awful. It looks awful. I don't know why it looks so unrealistic. I have legitimately seen things on YouTube that look better. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm being 100% serious. And if you can't see that, then you are incredibly biased to this film. There are multiple shots where it looks terrible. Tell me, go back and watch the scene where they're chasing Pedro Pascal in that car chase with all the up-armored vehicles. Go watch that again and watch her run. It looks horrendous. This movie, so much of it looks awful. Also, can Wonder Woman fly or not? If she can fly, why does she keep lassoing clouds and lightning bolts and like pulling herself up? Because she doesn't need that if she can fly. And if she can't fly, then why can she fly? Because she clearly flies like several times. Like she's doing the whole like Superman arm out. She's rolling over backwards and like flying backwards. Like she does all of that stuff. And then, but also lassos clouds and lightning bolts. Why? She can fly now. Cheetah is legitimately chilling. When she actually makes the full transformation, that first shot of her is chilling. It's beautiful and I loved it. Once it got a little close up, I was kind of iffy on it. Some of it worked for me, some of it didn't, but that first shot of her was beautiful. It looked like something out of a horror movie. It looked really good. I was legitimately like, ooh, that's a chill. So good on you for the final Cheetah. We finally got good Cheetah transformation. And Kristen Wiig did fine. I was worried about that part, but Kristen Wiig did really well. The part of Kristen Wiig's performance I didn't like was that same SNL crap we always get. This part of the film, I actually didn't mind Kristen Wiig. I liked her in the actual Cheetah makeup and the CGI and everything. It actually looked pretty good, but the fight still sucked. The fight was still awful. Also, Wonder Woman tries to murder Cheetah. She straight up does. They're both underwater, and she grabs just this huge power cable that's sparking electricity and puts it in, and it should have fried both of them. Oh, Wonder Woman's armor probably prevents the electricity from getting to her. Wonder Woman's not wearing anything on her head. Her head is in that electricity, the same as Cheetah's. They're both underwater. Cheetah gets fried. It doesn't touch Wonder Woman. It makes no sense. Either the electricity is just like selectively choosing who it shocks, or it's bad writing. Guess which one I think it is. Also, that's attempted murder. She tried to kill Cheetah. There's no doubt. Because she was like, do you renounce your wish? Cheetah's like, no, I'll never renounce my wish. She was like, well, I hate to do this. She tried to kill her. I don't care what you say. She knew it would knock her out. No, she tried to kill her. It was a horrible fight, too. You had to cut so much. Like, it was short and it didn't look good. Most of it, like, Wonder Woman was, like, cowering and blocking. And then they had, like, a little tussle. There was a lot of, like, swinging around. And just weird choices. Okay, I'm going to wrap up the rest of it. The last few notes basically talk about how the end of the movie made no sense. People don't have to touch the stone anymore to make a wish. Yes, someone wished that the particle thing would work. It still doesn't make sense. So what? Even with that, it makes no sense. The wishes that were being made, the world is done. It's over, okay? Because like I said, when you renounce the wish, it doesn't just go back. Okay, it doesn't go back in time. Everything that happened still happened. The wish is undone, but everything that happened still happened. So like the U.S. still almost nuked Russia. Russia still almost nuked the U.S. Like had nukes in the air, not just like a Cold War situation, legitimately launched nukes at each other. There are still like natural disasters, oil in all kind of places that oil shouldn't have been, which there's no telling what that would do to the earth itself, like its very structure. All these things still happened and still would have disrupted. If I wished for like my aunt to die, if that was my wish, even after I renounced that wish and she came back to life, I still wished her to die. Like she knows that. Like the world would never be the same. At the end, there's this like happy-go-lucky, like everybody's happy now. No, ma'am. No, sir. I'm sorry. The world would never be the same. It doesn't matter how much of that you undo because you can't undo the fact that it was done. Also, Wonder Woman can't get to Max because there's like a tornado in there, a tornado that's strong enough to keep Wonder Woman out, who's got her powers back, but not too strong to like tear the building apart. How does that make any sense? There's like papers flying around Maxwell. He like walks into the eye of this tornado and Wonder Woman can't get to him. It makes no sense. Who wished for that tornado? The whole end of the movie makes no sense. Maxwell finally renounces his wish and he hops a chopper back to DC. Who's flying that chopper? Everyone knows. Everyone on the planet at this point knows who he is and what he did. Who's the guy that's flying the chopper? And how does he know where his kid is? He lands the chopper in a field in a random spot in DC, and his child just happens to be there. How did he know? How did he know where to find his kid? How long did that chopper ride take? So many weird choices. And then at the end of the movie, Wonder Woman runs back into the guy who she slept with, who isn't her boyfriend anymore. It's just the guy, and like flirts with him. And it's just so weird because she's like checking him out and flirting with him. And it just, why, 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 why have that? Couldn't we let it go? Couldn't we let the weird, your boyfriend drove this guy's body for a while and you slept with him? And couldn't we let all that weirdness go? But no, you got to bring him back at the end and have her flirt with this guy who has no memory of her, but she has slept with him. He doesn't know who she is. She knows everything about him. That's not, there's something wrong there. If the roles were reversed and that was a man and that was a woman, you bet there would be a stink. You better believe it. I don't know. Look, this movie, the most offensive thing about it is that it didn't try. Few bright spots. Pedro Pascal, he did a good job acting. Chris Pine did a good job acting. Kristen Wiig, when they gave her something to do other than SNL bits, she did fine. Gal Gadot had moments of good, moments of bad. It's what you come to expect. I don't want to hate on Gal Gadot. I like her a lot. I just don't know if this role was right for her. That's not what's so egregious. What's so egregious is that they just didn't try. They didn't try at all with this movie. The movie start to finish makes no sense. It makes no sense. And they won't play by their own rules. They'll establish a rule here and then just be like, nah, plot convenience, it's gone now. Don't worry about what just happened. And it's not like Marvel, who strung together a narrative from the first Iron Man all the way to Infinity War and now continues that into the Disney streaming. And they have, for the majority, kept continuity with very few plot holes here and there. This is one film. One film that had nothing else to do with anything else in the DC universe, and you couldn't keep continuity with your own rules. It's offensive to movies. It's offensive to storytelling. It is a disaster of a film. Legitimately, one of the worst movies I've ever watched, and it wasn't even fun. It's a superhero movie. It wasn't even fun. It's awful, legitimately awful. The only reason it's not getting a 0 or a 2 is because Pedro Pascal, Chris Pine, there was some good acting. There were a few good scenes. There were some good thoughts that could have had the makings of a good movie, all poorly executed. At the end of the day, I'm giving Wonder Woman 1984 a 27 out of 100. All right, I'm sure I made somebody mad. This is a very long video. I hope you stuck around for the whole thing. If I did make you mad, be sure to drop down in the comments. Let me know. Were you as outraged by how bad Wonder Woman 1984 was? If you were, let me know down in the comments. Please subscribe, like, comment, all the good stuff. Don't forget to. If I did upset you and you were a big fan of this movie, I'm sorry. Don't get mad. Remember, this is all just one man's opinion. Thanks.